An update on the garden. I've got another planting bed dug in and planted, and I've started on a third, and I thought I would just update the current status of the original garden. I'm growing in this bed, starting out, radishes, and the radishes are doing pretty well. They'll be ready to harvest next week. These are cucumbers, they're just starting. And next to the cucumbers is corn. This bed is an experimental garden bed with a lot of varieties. The other beds have fewer varieties but more of each plant. We have in this bed also sunflower. They're getting quite tall. After the sunflower is pumpkin, and they're shooting out onto the third leaf. Pumpkin's doing well. The watermelon, I had 6 plants out, and I'm down to 1. I put them out too soon, so 5 died off, 1 survived. And the same thing happened with the cantaloupe. I put 6 plants out, and I'm down to 1 that's just starting to go on its second leaf now. The peppers are getting just a little bit bigger. I have, I think, 5 of those, this variety, living in this bed, and they're starting on their second leaf. And after that I put some spinach and lettuce. A few of the spinach survived, but I put it out a bit early. I think I have maybe 4 left, and a bee attacking me just at the moment. Sorry. Yeah, I've got 4 spinach left in this bed, but I put a lot more in the newer bed, and all of those have survived. So some spinach, the lettuce, I think all the lettuce died off in this bed. And we have some peppers. The peppers are growing well. Here, they're still small, but they're doing just fine. They all started from seed. In the back corner of the garden, we have a lot of beans coming up. These are all green beans. They're all between a decorative row of grass and a fence, and they'll all grow along the fence. So I think I've counted 12 bean plants, all coming up in their various stages, second and third leaves, along this garden bed. After the beans, I have peas growing up the fence now. These are all flowering peas that make snap peas, or some people call them spring peas, snow peas. And in this second bed I finished last week, I've got all sorts of lettuce, 2 varieties, the iceberg lettuce and the loose leaf lettuce. They're all very small still, these plants. You can see the idea based on my finger. And this garden I've planted in furrows. So I've mounded up like you see in farms, and that seems to really help the plants grow a lot better, and better drainage for the roots. Here is some radish here in this garden bed. And in the next furrow, here's some spinach here. It's doing very well. A little small still, but growing very strong. And in the middle of this garden, there is Brussels sprouts popping up. So all of these Brussels sprouts, small still, but all growing. So those will be very good. I enjoy Brussels sprouts very much. And the whole rest of this garden bed out to the end is all going to be corn. 66 corn plants in there, 21 Brussels sprouts growing here, 18 more radish, about 20 spinach, and more lettuce than I can count. I think there's at least 40 lettuce plants. And I'm now working on the garden for the herbs and spices. I was going to dig down a little bit and just mulch and compost in some good soil, but as it turns out, there was a lot of building material built under the ground in this back part of the garden, and a lot of it was just bricks left over from building when the house was built 40 years ago. So I think that's why grass and other plants really never grew well in this part of the garden. There's just a bunch of landfill buried under the ground. Didn't allow for roots and things to grow well. So I'm digging out all the bricks. There's over 1,000 there. They just buried a bunch of them, probably the big machine, and a mountain of rocks as well. I managed to pull out some big rocks just to give you an idea. Let me set this camera up and have a look at this rock. Alright, there's a rock that I pulled out of the garden, and to give you an idea of the size, these are some of the rocks I'm pulling out of the ground here. And we have some other in the collection as well as it grows and more rocks come up out of the ground. This particular rock is enormous. You can see my foot. This rock is 2/3 of it are buried. It weighs about 3 times as I do. It's a huge rock. I'm going to make a bench out of it. And I have a collection of many other rocks, all various sizes. Give you an idea. Some of them are pretty good size. I have layers and rows around different trees, just stacking them up for now. I think I'll make a rock garden, or at least the herb garden will have some decoration to see the rocks that came out of the ground here. Kind of natural looking and nice. I'll use the smaller ones to line the new garden beds as I go. After the herb garden, I have one more garden I'm going to dig and put a bunch of compost and mulch into, so it'll grow well. That's it. That's the update for now.